Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at Couchbase Connect. Today we're going to be talking specifically about Erwin data modeling for the Couchbase environment, which will allow you to design, document, deploy databases in that environment using a graphical modeling approach, as well as migrate legacy databases from their environment over into Couchbase, all the time making sure that you have good governance for all of the implementations you have on Couchbase, and that your business community can understand everything that's in Couchbase from all perspectives, from a technical perspective as well as a business perspective. Joining me today is going to be Rahul Singh. He's our Director of Development for the Erwin data modeling products, and he's going to be taking us through some of the slides and demoing the software, showing you all the capabilities. Rahul, can we have next slide? Now, when you look at Erwin in terms of our capability around the Couchbase platform, it's really aimed at allowing you to maximize business value. Couchbase has a lot of great capabilities that allows you to modernize your data infrastructure and your data capability to serve the business. But there are aspects that are required for any platform to make sure that that platform is providing all of the information required to use it in a most effective manner, to make sure that you are as efficient and effective as possible in manipulating and deploying to that, and that all of your business users really understand what they have in terms of Couchbase so that they can use it for for maximum value. So when you look at it, Erwin has a number of capabilities. It starts with our data modeling capabilities, where you can use that visual capability, visual paradigm to design, deploy, document your databases in Couchbase, and then manage those in a model-driven way, through the entire process, maintaining that and manipulating that structure to meet whatever business needs and requirements are there. When you look at the larger suite of capabilities that Erwin provides for Couchbase, we also have an environment where you can fully govern that platform in the context of whatever your entire data management platform might be, with full capabilities to transform legacy technology and legacy systems into this new modern platform, automation to really make that the most efficient and effective possible, making sure that you have full control over how data enters and leaves that Couchbase environment, cataloging all of the assets that you have, and providing important data intelligence to all of the different stakeholders that might be using excuse me, data in the Couchbase environment, so that they can understand it fully, become fully literate, and take greatest advantage of that. So it all starts with metadata management and metadata activation. And as you'll see, we'll provide you all of the capabilities that you need to have control over that environment, to govern that environment, and to really socialize all of the assets that you manage within your Couchbase environment, so that everybody can really understand and make great use of that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rahul, and he's going to dig deep into the data modeling aspects of it, and then I'll finish it off with a quick tour of the other capabilities that Erwin can provide around Couchbase. Rahul, if you can take it away.
Thank you, Danny, and hello, everyone. So today we are going to talk about Erwin Data Modeler for Couchbase. We have added Couchbase as one of the databases that in the next release, Erwin Data Modeler version 21 R1 will be supporting. Please remember that this is not yet released. This is a preview build, and there would be some changes that you will see when it actually goes for beta, which we are expecting to happen in December timeframe. With that, I would go over certain capabilities that we are building in for Couchbase. And as with any data modeling tool, you can create a Couchbase model from scratch. That means you can create a bucket, you can create documents, fields, associate fields with the right data type. You can also directly reverse engineer from the script, which will be a JSON script, or from the database directly. Consequently, you can also forward engineer into the database, or you can save it into the data into a script. You can open a legacy model. Let's say you have Oracle model or SQL Server model or any legacy database model. You want to convert that into Couchbase. It is a one-click process. We have a very efficient way of denormalizing the database into Couchbase model. And also there is a inbuilt functionality wherein you can do the other way around. Let's say you have a Couchbase model and you want to see what would it look like in a relational model. You can also do that. So we have round trip normalization and denormalization capabilities built in with a single one-click way of doing things. You can also do that normalization and selectively or manually by selecting one table from the relational into a document, as well as let DM do that for you. We have now in this going forward, we'll be supporting nested elements in the diagram. That means you can build hierarchical documents and field structure that you can see in the diagram of data modeler. You will also be able to save the model in the mart. As you know, Erwin data model, Erwin mart is a tool wherein you can save your model for versioning. You can save your model for role-based permission management. You can also save your allow different users to open the same model simultaneously and make changes into. So all that functionalities are inbuilt as part of Erwin mart, which will be available. This is just a tip of the feature. We have many other features in DM like design layer, complete compare, naming standards, and data standards, and many other features. We'll try to touch base of all of them or some of them based on the time that we will get. All right. So these are the different objects of Couchbase that we support. We support bucket, documents, view, indexes, users, and all the data type that Couchbase has provided support in their database is there. So the first thing that we'll talk about is how easy it is to convert a relational model into Couchbase. As you can see in the slide, you just have to open the model and select the database and convert into Couchbase, and it will automatically denormalize. After the model is created, it is ready to forward engineer into the database. You can also modify the data types because there would be some generalization done. So you can see that, okay, if you're not happy with the Erwin selected type, you can change them and then forward engineer into the database. I will start. I will start giving this demo now itself so that you can know how easy it is. So this is the new DM. I will close this welcome page and I will open a model. Let's say I'm opening this eMovies model. It's a standard model that comes with the product. So as you see, it is a logical physical model. I'm converting this into the physical side, and you see when you convert into the physical side, you can see here the database of this model. And you can see it is a SQL Server 2016 model. All you have to do is click here and you will see the target server database, and you can convert that. Click, select the database as Couchbase. And as soon as you select this Couchbase, you will see that auto denormalization feature is selected. You can also change the data type, the default data type, which the conversion will convert into. If there is a data type, let's say from SQL Server, whose whose default or there is no direct relation or conversion into the data type that Couchbase supports, then by default that data type will become string. I'll talk more about it in the subsequent slides. So so all I have to did was basically select Couchbase and select the default data type and click OK. As soon as you do that, it will tell you that there are some unconverted data types, which are basically converted into string because we have selected here, and you can see them, all of these tables and their column and the data type. Okay. So I'll close this one. And you see, this is the magic where automatic conversion has happened. So you see more than 8 tables are converted into 4 document. This is basically a rolling up algorithm that we have created. And once the, so it is as simple as that. So you just right click it and go to the field properties. And this is the new field editor that we have added, where you can see the data type associated with each of these fields, and you can also see the icons associated with them, which will give you an idea whether they are string or numbers or any other data type like that, or date time, right, timestamp, something like that. So you can change them based on your process if you don't like any of this. So for now, for this demo, I'll just keep it as it is and close it. Okay. So now what I will do is that I will create a bucket here. So I will create a bucket called movies. Let's say 101. I will create a bucket by that name. And what I'll do is I'll associate those bucket with these documents. I'll go here and select this bucket to assign ownership of these documents. So you see all these 4 documents are not now associated with these bucket. So once this is done, we will go to the schema generation part. This is a forward engineering process where you go and you select what options you want to generate into. So here I select bucket options, and rest I will keep it default and click the preview button. So as soon as you click the preview button, you can see the FA script into very colorful ways. You can actually go here and make changes of the color that you don't like. Let's say we are in Couchbase and you want to change the keywords to from turquoise to, let's say, blue. You can do that and it will reflect itself. So you can also make it bold if you like, and it will turn into bold. Normal text, and so there are many possible options where you can make changes to, and based on your preference here, let's say it will all change to that color. Okay, so this gives you a lot of option of how do you see your forward script, and it has many other features that we will learn as and when we go into the demo. Okay. Now, there is another very important feature that we have added in the forward engineering, which is called viewer. So if you click the viewer, you will see that it will list all the documents that we are forward engineering into. And if you expand it, you can see the details about those documents, how they are structured, what data types they have, and what is the default, what is the values that we are putting in. Remember, these values are sample values or dummy values that we are creating to execute them into the database, as documents cannot be created without the, some value associated with them. If you are coming from relational databases, you just have to create a schema. You don't need not have to enter any value. But in NoSQL, since it is a schema less, we have to have some values associated with these fields. That is what we are doing. Okay, so this is one sample feature where you can see and expand and learn more about the structure that you are sending into the database. As soon as we do that, we go to the generate button, and in generate button, before I go to the generate button, you can save this as a document. Let's say FA script. I will call it movies and save it. At the same time, I can generate this into the database. So I'll go to the Couchbase. This is the Couchbase connection dialog where you can see the database name. You give the username and password. So I have given the username and password, and the connection method is localhost, and this is the port number. And you can connect to any database right now, although it's immaterial. So let's say I connect to this, and it will take a few minutes to execute this into the database. Uh, so just to give an idea that when we generally create around 10 documents, sample document when you execute into the database. So there would be a similar kind of process for we are thinking of adding a way wherein people can choose, or user can choose how many documents they want to generate uh, when they are generating a sample database or to test. So here all the schemas are executed. I will click OK, and I can go to reverse engineer and go to the Couchbase database. So here there is a new REDB dialog that we have introduced in the next release. It will be a wizard-based REDB option where as soon as you open it, it will ask you whether you want to connect directly to the bucket or you have a script. Both the options are available. I will start with bucket, and if I select the bucket, the first thing it will ask you is to connect to it. So I will enter the username and password and the similar connection. And here I will change because earlier the database or the bucket that I had created was movie 101. So I'll put that and click connect. It is connected successfully. And as soon as you click bucket, it will list all the buckets that the database has. You can see beer sample, Gamesian sample, travel and travel sample, all of that. And the numbers that you see within that is actually the number of documents that are present. So you can see that beer sample has 7,300 documents and travel sample has 31,591 documents. The movies one was one that we created was having around 42 documents. So that gives you an idea about how many documents are present. And if you see here, you will be able to search. Let's say if you have hundreds of documents, hundreds of buckets, you can search here by simply typing the name, and it will keep filtering them. Okay. So once you decided that, all right, so I have movies here, and I'll click here. You can click multiple, you can double click. So all that options are available. You can add more than one bucket at a time to reverse engineer into a single model. But for this demo, I'm just selecting the one that I just forward engineer in my last step. So movies 101 is selected. This is the sample size. Sample size are basically the sampling or that we will use for infer command, which is basically to find out the scan through all the 10,000 documents in Couchbase to understand what is the possible schema for the document. Because as you know, none of these information is mandatory in a document. So we go through a bunch of documents before we come up with the most exhaustive definition of it. So here it is 10,000. You can change it. You can add it more. Make it less. Doesn't really matter. In this case, even though I have written 10,000, but the actual count is only 42,000. So it will only count and look for all the 42 records of this database or the bucket. Now, if I click the document, it will take some time and process. Oops, looks like something here. Let me do it once again. Let's see the connection is this. It's connected. Let me try once again. Okay, connected. Bucket, I have selected this one. Then I click here. All right, so I can now see that the infer has successfully created and the list of the documents that are available for that data bucket, and I can select it. Here also you have the option to filter by searching. I will select all of them and I click OK. So now the reverse engineering will kick in. It will go through the bucket and bring all the data document here. So you see, it was very simple to convert a model from relational database, make changes and forward engineer into the database and reverse engineer back to see how they look. So it is that simple. It's a very simplified way of converting your relational databases model into Couchbase. All right, so going back to more details about um, here. So we saw that we discussed about the reverse engineering. It's a wizard-based method which is very intuitive. It allows you to select uh, the sample size. By default, it comes with 10,000. As I shown you, you can change it. It allows you filtering of the document. Let's say if you have a large number of documents, you can filter them out and you can reverse engineer. In forward engineer, I also shown you how the forward engineer works. I've shown you some features around it and connection. It's a very simple, straightforward method. Now let's go and see the level of support that we provide. And here, as you see, we support all types of bucket, all properties of bucket that you have. So you will have Couchbase type bucket, memcached, ephemeral, compression. All the compression modes are provided. Expiration, all TTL, post expiration, purging, all of them are available for you to make changes with. Once these changes are done, you can actually see that here. Let me go back to the product and let me reverse engineer a database called which comes with the uh, product. Let's see, call it anyway. It doesn't matter really. Connect here, and here I select sample size and I select, let's say, travel sample both. And next, I will document with the list of document. Since it has more number of things, so here it is come, and I click OK. All right, now let's see the buckets. We have two buckets that we have reverse engineered, be a sample, and you can see that all the properties of that document has come here. You can make changes and you can generate it again into the database. You can modify it. You can change whatever suits your business requirement. It's very simple to do, and it is very visually available, and you can also do a lot of things. The other thing that you can do is when the model is created, right? So here, let's say when I reverse engineer it, and if I go to here, there is an extended note or history where you can see that who has reverse engineered it and at what time it was reverse engineered. All this information comes in, so you can always know when this model was created and by what method it was created. All right. So this is about all the buckets details, all the properties of the bucket that the Couchbase supports. We also support, and it is fully available to use. Okay. Let's go to the level of support of the document and field. Right. So here, as you see that we are now having multi-level documents, you can see them, and you can select the fields editor and make changes. So if you feel that, okay, I need to make changes to string to something else, you just have to go here and make changes to anything. Let's say uh, array. You can do that. As soon as you make it array, things will change. So, but it's all available for you to make changes with. Here we also have an option which we call it object browser. If you click here, it will list all the objects into their details, and you can see all of them in their details about the data types and everything. You can see the data type here. You can see the corresponding sample document for that. And this gives you an idea about how this is working, and everything you can see at one place. You can also save reports of these into a simple export button. I will talk about it later, but I just wanted to touch base. Here also we have added this unique property page, which gives you an option to modify them here itself instead of opening an editor. All these options you can modify, you can change null to not null, whatever whatever options that the database supports. We have also have option where you can see the objects count information. So you can see that, okay, there are 7 documents and 127 fields. And you can see how many views, databases, which basically are buckets here. And you can make changes, the way you want to anything. So these are some small changes that is there for people to know. We can also create objects. Let's say I want to create a new document, and if I want to copy, I can just copy and paste, and it will go. The entire stuff can also go. 1 second. I can just move it, and it will go. I can move the entire uh, address as well. So all that possibilities are here available. So here, since it is already having address, it will automatically rename it. So you can go to the properties and make changes to. So all that options are here. I can delete it. I can move this up or move this down. All that is. We also have search option. You can just right click it and click new object, and it will create a new object. Let's say call it ABC. So all these options are easily available. You can rename it, do so many things that is possible. You can also add notes in history. So here you can see that it is copied. It just retains every information that you have done about this particular entity. Okay, so this is about the document support. Let's go and talk about the indexes that we support. So we support currently all the types of indexes. So you can see that we have global indexes, full text indexes, and also primary indexes. All are present and available here to be supported. Global indexes, if you see, we have reverse engineer all the global indexes that the database has, and you can see all of them here. You can see the parameters level support. You can add as many parameters as you want. Depending on your business requirement, you can delete them, you can modify them, you can add all the where clauses, using clauses, and with clauses. All of these are supported here. Let's talk about the view. Although we have reverse engineered the view, this is not the standard view that you see in relational database. These are map reduced views, which is supported in Couchbase. These views can be seen, or the codes can be seen. This code can be modified and executed back into the database. It gives you a very simple view of seeing what are the functionalities that these views are doing, which is available to you in our modeling space. Now let's talk about complete compare of two models, right? So here for this test, explaining this difference, this is the model that I just reverse engineered, which is the e-movies model that we have created. And what I'll do is I have this model is here. I can save this model. Let's say I will save it as left model, left e-movies. Okay, now let's move it. So here, let me make some change. So I will go to the field, and let's say I will change this to address 1. Okay, and then I will check whether there is any difference with my database. So I go to the database and reverse engineer it, select the bucket, and click connect. And then I will select this bucket again, then click the documents, select all of them, click OK, wait for a few minutes, and this reverse engineering should be done. All right, now I will do a complete compare. So I can see that my model here is left model. I have selected this left, and right model is the one that I just reverse engineered from the database. And you can see that as well. You can identify this is the model that you saved on the disk, and this is the model which is coming directly from the database. And I click compare. You can see that it could find out that address 1 and addresses are two different things for the document cust. And what I can do is I can select this and I can tell it, oh, these are all the same thing. You just have to match it. And once the matching is done, you can decide whether you want to keep this name in the database or you want to keep the name which is coming from the database. So I can do any one. Let's say I wanted to change the name from in the database. So I just export it all and I click generate option and it will generate the insert command where this particular name change will happen. That is the level of support that we have provided in the product. And Okay, this is going to be a very powerful feature. If you click all equals, then you can know all the details here, how many documents, how their fields are, and what is the differentiation or similarities. You can see all of their databases coming, all of their types. You can see all of these are compared, and you can choose many other options. This is the default option that we have selected. You can choose more details, and it will tell you more about the differences or similarities in the model. Okay, so that is about the complete compare feature that we are supporting. Okay, so now there is go back to the slides. So there is another feature that we call scheduler. Scheduler is basically a way wherein you can ensure that the DM is working for you when you are not on the desk. So let's say I have 10 databases that I want to reverse engineer, and I want to do that during the weekend. So or I will do it while I'm gone for lunch. So Erwin DM will work for you. So what we basically mean here is that, so to do this, I'm launching it again because it requires me to have an administrative access. So I click the product. Sorry, I need to click once again because it is not raised as the administrator. So I'll go here and select it, run as administrator. Okay, so now it is running as administrator. What I can do is to go to the tools and you will see that Erwin DM scheduler. I click it. Now you can see that it is coming here. What I can do is basically I can create a sample. For example, I can create a, let me remove this one. So I removed it. So what I'll do, I'll create a new event by right clicking on it and create add an event. So here I will call it, let's say Couchbase sample. And I will say that, okay, start time is this much. And I will select the Couchbase and I do reverse engineering. So I have to tell the scheduler that what are the things that I'm going to reverse engineer. So I will click this one, click connect, and I'll say bucket and let me do be a sample and then document. I just have to go through this once and options, details, scheduler. So once I go here, I have to tell where the model needs to be saved. So here I will say scheduler be your sample and I saved it here. This is the model. You can save this in the Mart as well if you connect it to Mart. I think that's something we can do later. And you can compare this with a model also, but we'll do it later as well. And click OK. You can also do recurrence. So you want to do it every week, weekly once or weekly twice. It's up to you. And then click here. So for this demo, I'll just say schedule now and you click it. And you can see it is started already. So you can see that it's 5%, 28%, 38%. You can see. So it is saying that okay, reverse engineering is complete, and you can see the properties here, event log. So it will tell you about what it did and where the model is stored. So here you can see that it is stored model here, and these are the things it did. It reverse engineered it. It did what exactly it did. It will list everything here. So if there is any problem, you can see all of them here as well. Okay, so I'll go to desktop. I think it is in the Couchbase here, right? And here is the data model that is reverse engineered. I can double click it. It will open the model again. This is the model that get reverse engineered. So this is scheduler, and through scheduler you can do whenever you want to move out, you can just copy and paste, and it will you can reschedule this. You can do so many things that is possible here. Okay, with this, I will also talk about a little bit about a feature in Erwin which we called derived model or data design layers. So design layer is a way where you can convert your relational model into Couchbase in not in one click way, but you can choose to do many other things. So I'll show you an example here. So you go to action, and here you will see the design layer, and you can click derive into new model. So here I can choose the same thing, logical physical, and I will choose Couchbase and version. And here you can choose auto denormalization option as well. Click here and uh, name conflict. If there is anything, it will come up here. You can just ignore them for now or finish them, and you can choose what option you want to do to reverse engineer. All these feature and functionalities can be done here. Naming standards, object selection, all of that you can choose and derive as well. So that is one other way of converting a model from a relational database to a non-relational database or Couchbase. So with this, I think I am done. Danny, you are next. Let me put the slide back and put it in presentation mode.
Thanks, Raul. That was incredible. It's really exciting to see not only the support that we have for Couchbase specifically and the ability to generate and maintain JSON models, but to have that in a single tool that supports your entire process across any type of database. I think is very powerful, especially as you move away from the design and deployment aspect of it and really start to figure out how you're going to fit Couchbase into the bigger picture that you have in terms of your data infrastructure and your data capability within the organization. Because this now allows you to use a more traditional style if you want to capture your requirements and build the first aspects of design and then target it specifically to Couchbase, or you can work in a document or JSON-like approach if that works as well, and then bring it back to an entity relationship diagram that you may be using to help your business users understand what they have in that environment and how to use it. So now what we're going to do quickly and then very quickly here is just talk about where you can take this once you've set up this environment to design, deploy, and document your Couchbase environment. Where do you take it from there? So Raul, if you can take it to the next slide. We have another solution called Erwin Data Intelligence, and this is a full-on capability that allows you to start with your metadata, manage that metadata, activate that metadata, and then really drive that out into the ability to automate your environment, govern that environment, and really provide the intelligence required to your end users to really understand and leverage that environment to its greatest effect for the business. So we start with metadata. We have connectors for Couchbase data sources, so we can scan that information right in. You can also bring your Erwin data models into the data catalog and associate them so that you have a rich set of physical as well as semantic metadata around that data source to start working with. We also have something called smart connectors where we can pull in all of your data movement processes, all of your data consumption endpoints like business intelligence and reporting type environments, as well as larger data ecosystems, with the goal of really capturing data in motion or data movement and data consumption across your environment. So what we're looking at here is our mapping environment, where we can actually reverse engineer mappings from any type of technology that may be feeding your Couchbase instance. And, you know, in the case of a conversion, repoint that from the old legacy database to the new Couchbase environment and generate the code required to update that data movement process. We can also help you move from one platform to another. So if the platform you're using for data movement today isn't as powerful as you need or doesn't support your Couchbase environment, we can actually take that and migrate from, let's say, you know, an IBM data stage to, in this case, a Talend, and generate all of the code that's required, leveraging, you know, best practices, and then set up an automation framework where that information, working in conjunction with Talend, consistently gets moved to where you want it to be. If you want to, or as you're changing that, it's going to manage that life cycle and make sure that you're deploying appropriate data movement jobs across the board. So really, it's about activating metadata to get an understanding of the platform, but now we take it to the next level. If you can go to the next slide. What you're looking at here is another activation of the metadata, which is our ability to generate detailed on-demand lineage at the system, environment, you know, document or you know, collection type level, and give you the details that you need to understand where did data come from. So for your technical people, understanding the flow of data through at a great level of detail. For your business people, understanding where the data that they might be accessing in an endpoint report came from and what processes it went through, so that they can trust that data. And these diagrams are created on demand, not something that you need to maintain yourself, and very, very powerful in understanding the entire landscape of your data and how specific data moves through it and changes through that, in support of better use of your Couchbase and better trust in your Couchbase data assets. Next slide. Equally important, you can, you know, start to curate those data assets in Couchbase. So what we're looking at here is classifying sensitive data, and we have the ability to identify and help you classify all sorts of different sensitive data across your landscape. So whether it's personally identifiable, healthcare information, whatever it is that you need to make sure is private and secure, you can now start to curate, classify, so that anyone coming in through data intelligence can understand the nature and nuances of the data that they're using and where that's being used across the entire data landscape as well. Next slide. You can start to build, you know, basically a governance and intelligence framework, where you start to bring in things like business terminology in your business glossary, business policies that you may have, rules against the usage of that specific data, and actually leverage our internal AI and machine learning capabilities to go out and associate those things with the physical metadata that you've brought in from your Couchbase and other environments, so that you have a full framework where you can drill down, top down from the business term down into the physical metadata, or vice versa, metadata back up. And again, leveraging intelligence and automation within that, so that you can maintain this framework very easily and sustain that over time. Next slide. And this one here, a very, very powerful visualization. So this is not a data model similar to what Raul was looking at. This is really your search and discovery visualization for any of the assets that you have in your environment. So that you can see here, we're looking at an opportunity in the black box there. We can see all of the terms that are associated with that, all the business rules and business policies, as well as all of the physical metadata that represents where this type of thing in your organization and opportunity is managed in terms of real physical data. And then you can navigate this and drill down into the details, really allowing you to get a full picture in terms of both the business and technical side of your data, how it's being used, how it's being managed, and how you should use it in terms of the rules for appropriate usage and other things like that. So this is a very quick view into the sort of bigger picture of data intelligence. And Raul, if you can take us to the next slide, and we'll finish this off. And this is just a view in terms of the capabilities that Erwin brings to the table around Couchbase. So, you know, full enterprise architecture modeling, so you can understand, you know, especially if you're considering moving to something like a Couchbase or leveraging Couchbase in a larger way in your organization, you can plan that from a business strategy capability right down to technical infrastructure. You've seen the Erwin data modeler in terms of how we design, document, and deploy to the Couchbase environment. And then our data intelligence suite that has full cataloging capability, as well as a data literacy suite where you create that business governance framework complete with all of the standard and smart connectors that we have to allow you to get your arms around your entire data environment, whether that's a Couchbase platform that serves you end to end, or whether Couchbase sits in amongst other technologies that you need to bring together so that your business can leverage that data and really become a data-driven enterprise. So with that, I think what we'll do is say thank you so much for taking the time to spend with Erwin. We will get back to any questions that you've sent in online and give you the responses. Please come and see us at erwin.com. I'd like to thank Couchbase for inviting us to be part of Couchbase Connect. Hope you've enjoyed the conference so far, and I'm sure there's more great things to come. With that, I'll say thank you very much and have yourself a good day.